But baby, I swear I didn't mean it. I was just tapping. He'll be okay. Let me explain to you what I am talking about. So first of all, my name is Lizzie, and you might know me on the internet as Love Smarts Lizzie. I am a relationship coach and an expert on all things connection, communication, and conflict. And one of my favorite tools to use for relationships is EFT tapping because it's a stress reduction technique, and it also allows for better insights and for us to really explore the unconscious things underneath our behavior. And one of my favorite things about it, and the inspiration for this video, is that usually in relationships, you want to be very intentional with how you're talking. You don't want to criticize, you don't want to use all or nothing thinking, you don't want to be petty. But with tapping, we flip all of that on its head. And you actually even want to exaggerate some of the things that you're thinking. Because when you call your own bluff, you actually get a better picture of everything that's keeping your belief in place. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that looks like. When you're starting to tap, you actually want to magnify and really get into what is my belief about my partner, even if I think that it's true, or even if I'm like, no, I shouldn't think that way. You actually really want to verbalize it until you get a sense of like, where did this belief come from? Is this really about my partner? Is this even really about me? And what's going to happen is you're going to discover things that you never would have realized, and you're going to be able to come to them and communicate in a different way from a more grounded and empowered place. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. And if you've never tapped before, it's super simple. You can follow along and repeat after me and just tap where I tap. So the very first point is going to be this side of the hand point. And we'll tap here for a few minutes. And then after that, we're going to start the full round of tapping. So you'll tap top of your head, start of your eyebrow, side of your temple, top of your cheekbone, upper lip, chin, collarbones. You can do one side of your rib cage or two, and then you'll tap your wrists together. And then we'll start back on the top of the head. While we do this, we're going to be saying phrases that relate to the challenge that we're having and maybe the new insights that are developing as we tap. And this is just an example. You can use this for any issue that you're having with your partner. This is such a great thing to use if you're in an argument or if you're trying to make a decision together. Literally just stating the facts while you're tapping on your body is going to loosen up a little bit of the gunk that's keeping you stuck. So I thought we would do a really fun one today, and I want to show you how, when you really let this like meh energy be present, you're actually going to see what is underneath. So if you're ready, tap along with me, and yeah, we're going to start on this side of the hand point. My partner is holding me back. So repeat that. My partner is holding me back. Yeah, expressiveness is welcome here. And I am sick of it. If it wasn't for them, I would have given my TED Talk by now. If it wasn't for them, I would have written 5 books. I would be able to achieve my health goals. And I probably would have won at least like 1 Nobel Prize. But they are getting in the way. They are sabotaging me. With their inconvenient desires and their expectations for us, which I obviously have no choice but to fill. And even though I feel stuck, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself. Even though I feel held back, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself. And even though I am blaming my partner, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself for that too. Okay, so let's pause there before we move on. And do you see how you're really just finding those emotional Jenga pieces that you can tap a little bit and figure out what's not going to make your entire tower fall over. So you're really focusing on, how do I feel? Even though I feel these things, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself. And then we're going to see what happens when we go through the full round. Okay, so are you ready? If you haven't already, drink some water and let's go through the round of tapping and see what comes up. It's always a surprise. I cannot believe that this person is in my way. Don't they understand that I'm going to do amazing things? They really need to step aside and let me do my thing. In fact, I'm going to tap them on the shoulder and tell them. Like, major, I need to speak to the manager energy here. And it's going to feel so good when I confront this person in my way. Because then I'll be unstoppable. So I am walking over to them right now and tapping them on the shoulder, ready to share my thoughts. Hey, wait a second. Why am I looking in the mirror right now? Oops, it turns out that the person in my way is me. Maybe my partner does have hopes and expectations. But it's always up to me how I respond to them. And I've been letting them control what I do. Or rather, I've been letting them convince me that they're controlling what I do. Because I always have a choice. And maybe that's a really scary thing to think about. Because it might mean having tough conversations with them. It might mean that I'm confronting the possibility of not always making them happy. Because sometimes when we both have big dreams, we gotta work through some stuff. And even though I've been avoiding those conversations, I am ready to move out of my own way. And I'm ready to take ownership for my own actions. While still keeping in mind that, of course, I want to make my partner happy. And I also want to make myself happy. And somewhere in there is a win-win for both of us. But we have to be willing to have these conversations. So even though I've been hiding behind this blame, I am on to myself now. And I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself for not seeing this sooner. Because I'm always discovering things about myself. And by the way, so is my partner. And that's what makes this all such an adventure. And as I tap through this, I can feel my power surging through my body. And it's not a power over, it's power with. I can add my voice to the conversation. And we can be a choir together. A superstar duet with perfect harmony. At least most of the time. Because even those superstar duets practice for hours in the studio. They have a lot of outtakes, and we can too. And I am so willing to practice and giggle and sing off key, metaphorically, well, and literally. Because I want this partnership to skyrocket both of us. I want there to be space for both of our goals. I don't want either of us to feel held back. And even though I've been holding myself back for a really long time, I choose to love, accept, and forgive myself. And I choose to clear whatever's still in my path. So that I can run through the ribbon of all of my goals. And look over in the sidelines and see my partner cheering me on with a hilarious sign that only we understand. It feels so amazing to know that we support each other. And so it is. All right, take a deep breath in, hold at the top, and let it go. So that was tapping. You can see how even when you start with this really like exaggerated, petty, entrenched thought, the more that you give it space and the more that you give it acceptance and the more that you actually repeat it, the more you get an understanding of like what this behavior is doing for you, how you're actually contributing to the situation that you don't like, and what choices you have in the next steps. Even if it's just a different way that you think about it, sometimes it is a different way that you respond to your partner. But this is one of the reasons that I really, really love tapping for relationships specifically, because there's so much communication advice out there. There's so much, amazing external tools. But the way to really get at a true connection is to figure out what's going on inside, and even to find a way to share that with your partner. And actually, if you wanted to bring some of that beginning of the tapping script vibe to a proactive conversation, one of the recommendations that I've heard that actually seems to work really well for a lot of couples who kind of agree to talk this way is to use the format, when this happens, when you do this, or when I see this behavior, or whatever, the story that I have in my head is blank. And so in this case, it would be something like, when we talk about, the things that we want to do as a couple, the story that I have in my head is that you're holding me back from my goals. And I hate when I feel that way, because then I respond to you in this way, and I'm sure that doesn't feel good for you, right? And so do you see how you're kind of couching it in this framework of a story? And even if you believe that the story is true, it's still a story. And so you're letting your partner know, hey, I know that I'm feeling this way, and it's probably not how you're intending it, but this is what is happening for me, and I want you to know how my mind works and how I the reason that I'm showing up this way in our dynamic. And so that can be a really cool way to introduce more of your inner world to your partner, and for you guys to be really solution focused about how to respond to that. So that is your video today on basically processing the pettiness and seeing what it's all about. And I'm so curious how this felt for you. If anything stood out or surprised you, let me know in the comments. And of course, make sure to like this video and follow if you want more advice, more tapping, and just more silly videos, because that is what I'm all about. So thank you so much for getting wacky with me. I love to see it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.